Never do tomorrow what you can do today. That's a strong motivation right there from Charles Dickens. It's good to have you join us on the conversation showing on your digital first Pan-African news network. And we're coming to you from Nigeria's federal capital city, Abuja. My name is Merciful Ajinamo. Before we go straight to the big story, of course, we'll bring you the COVID-19 updates from across Africa. It is the conversation, and yes, you can be a part of our social media community. Just follow us across all our social media platforms at TOSTV Network on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Our YouTube is right there, TOSTV Network. Like and subscribe so you do not miss out on any content. Here's the big story, the crux of the conversation, and this time we'll focus on national grid collapse. Of course, we know the Nigerians are suffering. And this morning, analyzing this is Dakpo Banjo, a social commentator. You're welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank
you for having me. It's okay. We received news of electricity grid collapse in some states, especially Lagos, and of course Abuja, some quarters of the east and everything. As a Nigerian who is an active user of power, how do you react to this?
It is very unfortunate, Merciful, that this is what we have. It's really very sad that in a country who has been independent since 1960 is still struggling to generate less than 10,000 megawatts of electricity. It will wow you to know that Nigeria still doesn't have the capacity to generate conveniently more than 4,000 megawatts of electricity per time. Now, fair enough is to educate Nigerians too, to let people know that power grid collapse has become very incessant. We had about 4 incidences or occasions where the national grid actually collapsed in 2021. In February, we had a collapse. In May, we had a collapse. In August, we had a collapse. And in July, August, we had a collapse. So February, May, July, and August, about 4 times in 2021, we had a national grid collapse. Now, in 48 hours, the first time this week was on Monday.
Yes.
We had a collapse. And while they were trying to bring it back up, it collapsed again. Now, let me quickly say that this is the way the power grid works. The power grid is not rocket science. It's just talking about 3 major elements of power getting into everybody's homes. And that is the generation, the transmission, and the distribution. So we have an unbundling that was done in 2013, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, into 2016, even when the APC took over power in 2014, 2015. The unbundling was such that we had the GENCOs. The GENCOs were directly in charge of generation. Now, Nigeria, the TCN, which is the transmission company of Nigeria, still was retained by the federal government. And then we have the DISCOs, who are actually people who eventually get electricity into everybody's homes. So we have these three sectors that are really responsible. Now, Nigeria does not, let me emphasize, have the capacity on the national grid to put in there more than 4,000 megawatts of electricity. Now, what really caused the recent collapse and what caused the previous collapses in 2021 was the fact that we have a place in the Niger Delta. That particular one is called Ajib. It's called Ajib Opai. Ajib Opai is one of the generating plants that Nigeria, eventually, and it's responsible for almost about 400 of 1,000 megawatts of electricity.
That's almost 50%.
Almost 50%. And then we have the AFAM. Now, AFAM 6 is called AFAM 6. It's a generating center too. And then we have the Calabar plant. that is another generating center. So if 400 is actually associated with Ajip Opai, which NMPC actually is directly responsible, and they've been trying to bring back that generating that generator. Let's just use for the sake of this conversation. Okay. They've been trying to bring back that generator. You know, the grid collapse is just simply saying nothing is generated, nothing is transmitted, and so nothing can be distributed. That's what collapse actually means. So when people say collapse, people start thinking maybe something fell or something
was destroyed.
got destroyed. But apparently, it is just a restarting of the grid. It simply means put on the generator, just like at home. When there is no PHCN, then you just put on your generator, and your generator, if it's in good, if it is in good condition, it just supplies you electricity. And don't forget that what we are talking about here is talking about voltage, current, and the frequency. And these are the three elements that electricity actually contains. What you receive in your home is not current. The day you receive current there, you are done, you are dead. But current doesn't really come into your house. It is voltage. So when electricity goes out, just suddenly goes out in your home, it is you are out of voltage. Okay. If it is low voltage, no low current. There is nothing like that. If it is not there, it means you are actually you don't have electricity supply. Now, the most important thing here, which is the collapse of the grid, which we're talking about, is to understand the fact that the AFAM Opai, the AFAM 6, the Calabar generating center, and then the other one, which is Ajip Opai. Ajip Opai was actually vandalized. There was a vandalization that took place there. And the two other ones have one component of the generating set that is bad, that needs to be replaced. So there was an emergency meeting called by the Minister of Power. And they had a meeting. NMPC was present. HAFAM 6 representatives were there. Ajip Opai representative were there, which is NMPC in itself. And then you have the Calabar, which is the HAFAM 6 is actually a Niger Delta company managed generating center. So all of these things, they work hand in hand, because there is no way you can actually get this thing done without all of them working together. So it is what is generator that is eventually transmitted. And the transmission is talking about those long lines that you see, and you see cables on them. And then they are in electricity, or in science, we actually say they will be stepped down in a place and then it continue. They will step it down in a place and then it continues. So it can be from Abuja and it can go all the way. So there's something, but let me not go into the technical whatever. There's what we call the 11 and the 33. Now, the 33, it's actually that final stage where transmission is being given into all the distribution center, the discos. They take it and then they now manage what has been given to them, and that's what they sell to you and they sell to me. So unfortunately, Nigeria is still having that fundamental basic problem of lack of maintenance culture. This was what killed all our refineries. And that's what is actually affecting the national grid. And that's because nothing really has been done to improve generation. A country as big as Nigeria, and with the number of housing units that we have, and at the same time, with the number of states that we have, we still cannot generate more than 4,000 megawatts of electricity in 2022. That it's a big problem. Nigeria doesn't seem to be moving forward.
I like how you said basic, meaning it's something that is very important.
Yes.
Now, Nigerians are at the receiving end. You and me, people who use the power.
Yes.
So, unfortunately, we are at a time where people are crying for lack of fuel. People are crying for electricity. Government, when you go and meet people on the street and you hear them talk, the average person will just be like, oh, we don't have light, maybe because there's no water, no rain, or something has collapsed or spoiled. How ready are we? How soon do you think we can get to that space where, other countries are, where power becomes a thing of the past, meaning it is settled?
Okay. Now, the major
Very shortly, sorry.
The major part of our generation is thermal, which makes we depend so much on water. Nigeria is actually a country that is surrounded by water. We have Lake Chad. Lagos is surrounded by water. There is a water movement, River Benue, Imo River, and all of that. So when you go across Nigeria, you will always see water somewhere. And so it means we're not even making absolute or total use of our natural God-given resources to get what we want. Now, some of these generating sets that we have talked about use gas, okay? And so when you hear people say there is lack of petrol or AGO, either PMS or AGO or something like that, and it's affecting because what we're talking about is that we're not putting anything together. It's not rocket science. They are generators and they work. So they use something to be powered up. So when there is no PMS, when there is no AGO, which is diesel, we have a similar problem. So the current shortage that we are experiencing right now, that NNPC has been promising in the last almost 2 months now, it will disappear. It will disappear. But up till today, you and I know that in the city of Abuja, we still have a major problem. The major source today is still that black market sellers still have more petrol to offer us, the end users, than filling stations.
Unfortunately, that's a very bad one. So you think till all of this is settled, we will not achieve, because I think for a long time now, we've been praying and hoping that we get to a point where all of this become a thing of the past. So that means if all of these things are not settled, there's no availability of these resources, we will never get to a point where light becomes a constant thing.
Merciful, we will never get there.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Dakpo, for joining us on the show today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you, viewers. Don't forget, we come your way every Mondays to Fridays. And of course, as the conversation, you can also be a part of our social media community. And of course, it is at TOSTV Network on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Thank you for joining us today. We come your way again tomorrow. My name is Merciful Ajinmo. Bye for now and stay safe.